Welcome. Let's take a quick look at how Workflow streamlines approvals in Jarrison time. Workflow can be used with overtime authorization and pre-authorization, manual clockings, and adjustments. It allows you to configure multiple approval levels, up to 5, for each task type. Users within those approval levels are notified of outstanding tasks and are responsible for approving them or rejecting them. To start off with, let's log in and work with some practical examples. We'll be logging in as Ivan, who will be our task initiator. A task initiator is a user who will be kicking off the workflow approval process by capturing overtime, adjustments, and the like. Let's take a look at some of the overtime waiting to be processed. Here we can see a few cases of unauthorized overtime. We'll go ahead and authorize some of these, making any adjustments to times, as well as adding reasons for why we're authorizing them. The reasons are useful tools we'll see in a bit, since they help to communicate our reasoning behind authorizing these items to users higher up in the approval hierarchy. And there we go. If we check the overtime that we've just authorized, we'll note that the overtime is now marked with the captured status, which means overtime authorizations we've done can now be approved or rejected by the user who is required to approve here. Additionally, the user that we report to will also be notified via email of this newly created task. It's worth noting we have two different ways of configuring the system. Either we can set the employee supervisors as the users who will need to approve the task, or we simply assign whoever Ivan reports to as the first level approver. In our case, we're logged in as Ivan, who reports to Cefiso. So let's log in on Cefiso's user account and have a look. On the topic of logging in the case that the user is absent or otherwise unavailable, another user can temporarily be given rights to substitute for that user. As soon as we log in, by default, we'll see this window pop up. This is the task list. It will give us a list of all of our outstanding tasks divided by initiator, or in other words, which user started the tasks, action type, and week. To access it manually, we can navigate to View on the menu bar and click on the Task List option. We can see here there is a case of overtime authorization initiated by none other than Ivan. Let's have a closer look by double-clicking on the task. Now we can see each of the different cases of overtime we've authorized under Ivan's profile. Let's go ahead and approve some of these by clicking each of their checkboxes, then clicking Accept. And there we go. We've now approved overtime at the first level. With the way we've configured our system here, we'll need to go through 3 more levels of approval before our overtime is fully processed and ready for payroll. If tasks aren't actioned fast enough, escalation mails are automatically sent to those higher up in the hierarchy, adhering to a customizable escalation schedule. However, again, this can all be modified. You can configure the system to require anywhere from 1 to 5 levels of approval before the overtime is processed, and the escalation schedule is optional. To demonstrate task rejection, let's go ahead and reject this overtime item captured here. To reject, we once again will select the relevant overtime item, and subsequently enter a reason for rejection. What this will do is communicate to the initiator, Ivan in our case, why we've rejected the overtime, which will allow them to correct the overtime accordingly. We'll log back in as Ivan, and once we do, we'll see our familiar task list. In it, we can see the task that was just rejected. To the right, if we just expand this window here, the reason for rejection that was communicated by the approver is listed under the Remarks column. Armed with the feedback from the approver, let's proceed and correct the overtime case listed here. There's the particular overtime that we submitted for Alvin McDonald. We'll just resubmit this time without applying any rounding. And there we go. With that done, the task will again be submitted for approval by the first level approver. Once the items have gone through all levels of approval, the results will display in your timesheet and will be ready for payroll. While the examples we covered here were used for overtime authorization, again, Manual clockings, overtime pre-authorizations, and adjustments like leave bookings can all go through this same process. All actions performed in the system are audited in detail. This ensures accountability from all users involved. Thank you very much for watching this video. For more information, please feel free to contact your local reseller.